Chapter 11. What about the Ji family? You are listening at novelfull.audio. A young man in a suit and tie with a bandage on his head came over. It was Ji Boxiao, the second son of the Ji family. He said softly to Han Ruoyun, Yun, you have just recovered from a long illness. There is no need to be angry with such a thing. Brother Xiao will make the decision for you. Han Ruoyun glanced at Ji Boxiao and didn't want to talk to him. This guy had pursued me many times back then, and he couldn't even drive him away. Ji Boxiao didn't feel embarrassed at all and threatened Ye Tiance with narrowed eyes. You make it easy for me to find you. I order you to kneel down and apologize to Yun immediately, and then crawl out like a dog, otherwise. Ye Tiance raised his eyebrows and asked, what else? Ji Boxiao had a domineering attitude. Otherwise, I will let you see the horror of the Ji family in Jiangnan, that ever since he went to the Han family to recruit a bride and was ruined, he has hated Ye Tiance deeply. Now that they suddenly met by chance, he will not let it go. Han Ruoyun said impatiently, Ji Boxiao, my business has nothing to do with you, you can go. Ji Boxiao said with a dog-licking look, Yun, no matter who provokes you, they will never get along with me. Don't worry, I will keep a good balance. As he spoke, he suddenly banged the table hard. Didn't you hear what I said? Or are you, a good-for-nothing son-in-law who was kicked out by the Xiao family, not taking our Ji family seriously? This action attracted many customers to look over. Ye Tiance smiled and said, what is there about the Ji family that I should take seriously? Is it your father Ji Wuli? Is it your brother Ji Boduan? Or you, Ji Boxiao? Tsk, look at your three names. One is weak, one is short, and the other is small. Could it be that they all describe reality? As soon as this statement came out, many customers couldn't help laughing. The names of these three guys are so funny. Even Han Ruoyun's cheeks flashed with blush. He gave Ye Tiance a hard look. This bastard, in front of the public, what are you saying about tigers and wolves? You are looking for death. Ji Boxiao's face turned red with anger and he let out an angry roar. A punch went straight to Ye Tiance's face. He believed that with his 2.5 years of taekwondo training, he could at least break Ye Tiance's nose. However, the next moment, his eyes blurred, bang, the whole person flew out directly and fell heavily to the ground, all in a mess. What? Some timid customers screamed in fear. Even Han Ruoyun's eyes widened, unable to see clearly what happened at that moment. Immediately afterwards, the hotel manager came quickly with a group of security guards. Who dares to cause trouble in Tianlong Hotel? Hotel manager Sun Jun glanced around and shouted in a deep voice. The customers were all silent and did not dare to look at him. As we all know, Tianlong Hotel is one of the companies under Tianlong Group and has a profound background. In Jiangnan City, no one dares to cause trouble in Tianlong Hotel. Ji Boxiao struggled to stand up, grinning in pain. When Sun Jun saw Ji Boxiao, there was a hint of flattery on his face and asked, Second Young. Master Ji, what's going on? Who provoked you? Ji Boxiao pointed at Ye Tiance and said angrily, Manager Sun, he was the one who beat me. This bastard deliberately caused trouble in Tianlong Hotel, don't let him go. Swish. The eyes of Sun Jun and the security guards behind him all fell on Ye Tiance. Sun Jun put on an arrogant look and said, Boy, do you know the price you have to pay for making trouble and beating people up at the Tianlong Hotel? Ye Tiance said helplessly, he was the one who struck first, and I struck back. What's the problem? Ji Boxiao shouted loudly, Fart. You were the one who provoked me first, so don't bite people randomly. Then he said to Sun Jun, Manager Sun, as long as you help me out today, I will repay you several times. For Sun Jun, the truth of the conflict is not important, what is important is Ji Boxiao's promise, so he smiled and said, Young Master Ji, you're welcome. This is all my responsibility. How do you want to deal with this kid? Ji Boxiao narrowed his eyes and said coldly, I want your people to break his legs, throw him out of the hotel, and put a sign at the door that says Ye Tiance and dogs are not allowed to enter, so that he can lose face. How about that? As soon as this statement came out, the customers gasped, this Ji Boxiao is really retributive, so cruel. At the same time, I felt pitiful for Ye Tiance. but there was nothing he could do about it. Who made him provoke the people he shouldn't have provoked? Sun Jun smiled lightly. This little thing is all taken care of by me, that he signaled to the security guard behind him to take action. Wait, that at this time, Han Ruoyun stood up and spoke to stop him. Sun Jun was stunned for a moment and asked in confusion, Miss Han, what do you mean? Han Ruoyun ignored him and said coldly and arrogantly to Ye Tiance, as long as you apologize for insulting me just now and ask me for help, I can help you get through this crisis for the sake of our engagement. Ye Tiance simply refused, no need. Han Ruoyun was stunned for a moment, frowned and said, a disaster is imminent, and you are still pretending to be a sophisticated person in front of me? I said that I will not fall for your tricks. Ye Tiance said speechlessly, Miss Han, I really recommend you to see a psychiatrist. Excessive narcissism is a disease and it needs to be cured. You. Han Ruoyun was choked so much that she was so angry that Ao Ren's chest heaved together and said, you don't know what is good or bad. I don't care about you anymore, I will love you to death. Seeing this, Ji Boxiao added fuel to the fire and said, Yun, I told you before, this waste has no knowledge of good and evil, don't pay attention to him. Manager Sun, tell your people to take action. Sun Jun waved his hand to summon people to rush forward. Ye Tiance suddenly said, Manager Sun, I would like to advise you to stop now, otherwise you will lose your job and the gain will not be worth the loss. Sun Jun almost laughed out of anger. Boy, did you make me lose my job? Who do you think you are? Our hotel owner? Or the higher-level chairman Long Yi of Tianlong Group? Ye Tiance put his hands in his pockets and said calmly, although I am not the owner of your hotel, I can order Zhao Hailong to ask your boss to fire you. The words fell, everyone looked at Ye Tiance as if they were mentally retarded. What is Mr. Long's identity? You said he would obey your orders. Good guy, why don't you say that you are the president of the earth and all mankind will listen to you? Sun Jun couldn't help but sarcastically said, I really want to see how you can make Master Long listen to you. I'm really looking forward to being fired by you, ha ha ha. Ji Boduan even laughed, if you can fire Manager Sun, I will call you daddy in public. Han Ruoyun sneered in his heart, she originally thought that Ye Tiance was deliberately showing off in front of her and playing hard to get to attract her attention, looking at it now, there is simply something wrong with my brain. Why did Grandpa make an engagement with him in the first place? Fortunately, I regretted it. As for Ye Tiance, he didn't care about the ridicule of these people and directly took out his mobile phone and called Zhao Hailong. I'm at the Tianlong Hotel. I'll give you 1 minute to ask the hotel owner to come over and fire a manager named Sun Jun. Then hang up. This move made the surrounding customers join in the mockery. This kid is addicted to pretending. Why do you come here in 1 minute to make a movie? A clown. Sun Jun glanced at the time and said arrogantly, boy, there are still 15 seconds left in the countdown. If no one comes when the time is up, you may be. The words are not finished yet. A middle-aged man in a gray suit hurried down the stairs until he arrived in front of Ye Tiance. He said respectfully, Mr. Ye, Chen is late and deserves death. I will expel Sun Jun right now. In an instant, the whole place was silent. Chapter 12 Ji Boxiao calls Daddy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Everyone stared at the middle-aged man in stunned silence. This person is none other than the owner of Tianlong Hotel, Chen Feng. I actually got called by a phone call, what's going on? Sun Jun looked unbelievable and said nervously, Mr. Chen, please listen to my explanation. The thing is. Chen Feng interrupted with a stern face, you bastard. I won't listen to your explanation. You should go to the finance office to settle your salary immediately and get out of here forever. Sun Jun was so frightened that he could only leave in despair. Before leaving, he glared at Ji Boxiao fiercely, it's all his fault for causing so much harm to me. As for Ji Boxiao, he was confused for a long time and couldn't figure out the situation. Ye Tiance sneered and asked, didn't you just say that when I fired Sun Jun, you would kneel down and call me daddy? Come on. Ji Boxiao's eyes twitched and he smiled awkwardly, Brother Yi, you misunderstood, I was joking just now. Ye Tiance narrowed his cold eyes and said, you are kidding. I am not kidding.
You can either kneel down and call me daddy today, or let Mr. Chen's people break your legs and throw you out, and hang a sign outside the door, Ji Boxiao no dogs allowed. Choose one. Ji Boxiao said bitterly, Brother Yi, can you change it to another one? This is really too. Ye Tiance said coldly, since you don't want to choose, I will help you choose to break your legs and throw them out. No, no, no. It's not my choice. Ji Boxiao clenched his fists and gritted his teeth, then he knelt down on the ground and reluctantly said, Dad. Ye Tiance raised his eyebrows and said, Has your vocal cords been left at home? Louder. The corners of Ji Boxiao's mouth twitched fiercely. Yi, I fell into your hands today, and I will take revenge. He took a deep breath and shouted, Dad. 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 Ye Tiance clapped his hands and said with a smile, My dear son, Dad will teach you how to behave with your tail between your legs in the future, otherwise you will suffer big losses. Get out. Ji Boxiao stood up and ran away without wanting to stay any longer. He was so nervous that he even fell down when he went out. Ha ha ha. The customers roared with laughter. I think second young Master Ji is famous for being domineering in Jiangnan City. When has he ever suffered such a disadvantage? It looks so cool. Chen Feng asked respectfully, Mr. Yi, do you have anything else to give me? That he actually didn't know anything about the man in front of him. The reason why he was so cautious was actually the call from Zhao Hailong just now. There is only one order, Mr. Yi must be obeyed unconditionally. Ye Tiance shook his head, No, I'll help you. Chen Feng hurriedly said, What are you talking about? In the final analysis, it is my failure to restrain my subordinates. As compensation, please accept this small gift. As he spoke, he glanced at the assistant behind him. The latter quickly took out a wooden box from the office, opened it with both hands. I saw a ginseng that was all white and more than a foot long lying in the square box, exuding a faint medicinal fragrance. Seeing this, the surrounding customers exclaimed again. Isn't this the century-old snow ginseng that Chen Feng bought from Jiangnan Medicine King a few days ago? I actually gave it to him. I heard that century-old snow ginseng can cure all kinds of diseases, and it's hard to find for $1,000. What is this kid's identity? He deserves Mr. Chen to do this. Han Ruoyun on the side was already stunned with shock. She really couldn't figure out how a good-for-nothing son-in-law who was kicked out by the Xiao family could do all this. Jingle bell. At this moment, the cell phone on the table suddenly rang, and she subconsciously grabbed it to answer the phone. An anxious female voice came from the opposite side. Ye Tiance, this is Xiao Qingcheng. I want to say sorry to you first. Han Ruoyun replied, I am not Ye Tiance, I am Han Ruoyun. Hearing this sentence, the voice on the other side was obviously startled. After 2 seconds of silence, she asked, Where is Ye Tiance? Ask him to answer the phone. At this time, Ye Tiance looked over and asked doubtfully, What are you doing with my phone? Only then did Han Ruoyun realize that he had picked up the wrong phone in his panic, but he slapped his lips and said, This lady didn't mean it. I want to ask you, why are your mobile phones and mine both black and even have the same ringtone? Ye Tiance really didn't want to mess around with her, so he took his phone back and asked, What's the matter? I want to tell you. Xiao Qingcheng hesitated for a moment, then suddenly changed his words. Grandpa suddenly fell ill and was hospitalized. He is in the #1 hospital. He wants to see you. You decide whether to come or not. Ye Tiance asked anxiously, Grandpa is sick. What's going on? Beep. But found that the other party had hung up the phone. Think for a few seconds, he said to Chen Feng, Mr. Chen, I will accept this 100-year-old snow ginseng first. I won't take it from you in vain. Chen Feng smiled respectfully, it's all what I deserve. Passed the century-old snow ginseng to Ye Tiance. Ye Tiance said impatiently to Han Ruoyun, Miss Han, please don't contact me again in the future, I can't bear it. Put this down and leave directly. Han Ruoyun was so angry that he stamped his feet and couldn't help but said angrily, Ye Tiance, don't think that I can fall in love with you by playing hard to get, you are just wishful thinking. This young lady has already fallen in love with someone. He is a big shot 10,000 times better than you.
When the tenderer meets tomorrow night, I will take him down and I will make you mad. Jingle bell bell. This time, it was Han Ruoyun's cell phone ringing, and it was her father Han Tianjing calling. Yun, how's your inquiry going? Does Ye Tiance have any background? Han Ruoyun was unhappy and said angrily, he has a fart. Then he hung up the phone and left Tianlong Hotel angrily. At the same time, in the private room on the second floor, there was a woman who saw everything happening on the first floor, wearing a silver cheongsam. She has a plump figure, a very beautiful face, and flaming red lips. She exudes the charming charm of a royal sister, which is breathtaking. A tall maid wearing a black leather jacket and leather trousers walked up to her and asked, Miss, what are you looking at? Nothing, I just saw an interesting person. The cheongsam woman withdrew her gaze and said calmly, this time I came to Jiangnan City from the provincial capital. In addition to participating in the bidding meeting tomorrow night and opening up the Rong family's influence in Jiangnan City, I also want clues about that man. You should pay more attention to find them. The maid persuaded in a low voice, Miss, is it worth it for you to fight for a man you have never met? What's more, the engagement you have. The cheongsam woman said firmly, I have never met the other half of the engagement. I don't even know his name, and I don't want to know. I, Rong Meiyan, will not agree to that engagement. 8 o'clock in the evening, Jiangnan City No. 1 Hospital. Ye Tiance rushed to the door of the ward and saw many Xiao family members. When they saw Ye Tiance, their expression subconsciously turned disgusting. In their view, although the previous invitation letter from the Xiao family was cancelled and it was clarified that it had nothing to do with Ye Tiance, it still could not change the fact that Ye Tiance was a waste. Zhang Huilan and Xiao Nan were also there. Their cheeks were red and swollen, with obvious slap marks. This was all left behind when I knelt down at home to repent and slapped myself. It still hurts a little now. Zhang Huilan asked in a bad tone, what are you doing here? Ye Tiance answered truthfully, Qingcheng called to say that grandpa was suddenly ill and I came to visit. Xiao Nan was dissatisfied and scolded, my grandfather is sick, what does it have to do with you, an outsider? You trash, get out of here. In his opinion, the fact that the mother and son insulted Zhao Hailong was exposed, leading to punishment. Ye Tiance must have been doing it secretly, although I don't know how he did it. The rest of the Xiao family also complained. Why are you here to visit the head of the family? You clearly hate our Xiao family for expelling you, and you are here to see a joke. We don't need your pretense, get as far away as you can. Don't think that because our Xiao family has restored its quota in the bidding chamber and is about to win tens of billions of orders, we just want to come back and continue to hug you. No way. Seeing the faces of these people, Ye Tiance frowned. Good intentions are just like a donkey's liver and lungs. Since you don't need my visit, forget it. Turn around and leave. And many more. At this moment, the ward door opened and Xiao Qingcheng walked out. Chapter 13. You are a cultured ginseng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Qingcheng looked at Ye Tiance with a complicated expression. She originally planned to apologize for wronging Ye Tiance, but thinking that he was actually with Han Ruoyun just now, she felt inexplicably uncomfortable and found it difficult to speak. Ye Tiance didn't know what she was thinking at the moment, so he asked directly, how is grandpa? Xiao Qingcheng regained her composure and replied calmly. The doctor said that he was out of danger due to the severe fire in his heart. He just lay down to rest, so he can't be disturbed. Ye Tiance nodded and said, okay, then I won't go in. Now that the old man is out of danger, there is no need for him to stay here, so he plans to leave the century-old snow ginseng behind. Hand the wooden box forward. This is for grandpa. It will be good for his recovery. Before Xiao Qingcheng could take over the wooden box, Zhang Huilan stepped forward and grabbed it and opened it. After seeing what was inside, he put it back into Ye Tiance's hands with a look of disgust on his face. What do I mean, you have the nerve to give away this shitty farm ginseng? Where did it come from? Ye Tiance explained, this is a century-old snow ginseng, which can cure all kinds of diseases. It is a very precious medicinal material. Zhang Huilan said disdainfully, do you think I'm stupid? What's the century-old snow ginseng? I've never heard of it. It looks like fake ginseng. I find it expensive at only 9 yuan for a certain product with free shipping. Xiao Nan also said in a weird way, you can blow a fake ginseng into 100-year-old snow ginseng to cure all kinds of diseases. If you blow a white radish, you can blow it into a 10,000-year-old supreme radish. You can live forever after eating it, right? Everyone in the Xiao family present burst into laughter. This trash, for the sake of his poor dignity, he can brag. Even Xiao Qingcheng shook his head helplessly. She didn't understand why Ye Tiance never knew how to be down-to-earth and had to do frivolous things. At this moment, a young man in a suit and leather shoes appeared in front of everyone. It was Ji Boduan. He greeted Xiao Qingcheng diligently. Qingcheng, I heard that the head of the Xiao family is sick, so I came here to take a look. Xiao Qingcheng responded with an unhappy tone, you don't need to worry about my grandfather's affairs. Ji Boduan didn't feel embarrassed either. He knew that Xiao Qingcheng was angry because he lied about asking Zhao Hailong for help. Qingcheng, I did exaggerate the truth about the Chamber of Commerce quota, but the truth is definitely not what you think. Without my efforts, Master Long would not have changed his mind. Xiao Qingcheng frowned. What do you mean? Ji Boduan said with a serious face, to tell you the truth, these are actually all the credit of my dad. I begged my dad to take action, so he called to communicate with Mr. Long, and it was naturally successful. Originally I should have told the truth, but in the heat of the moment I took the credit for myself. Now that I think about it, I really regret it. Everyone in the Xiao family nodded suddenly. Not long ago, they were discussing the reason why Zhao Hailong changed his mind, but they couldn't think of it after much thought. Now listening to Ji Boduan's explanation, everything falls into place. At this moment, Ye Tiance couldn't help laughing. In all his life, he has never seen someone so shameless. Ji Boduan's face darkened. What are you laughing at? Is there anything wrong with what I said? Ye Tiance said calmly, you know whether you are wrong or not. Remind you, if you use lies to cover another lie, you can only use more lies to make up for it in the end. You. Ji Boduan was hesitant, however. Zhang Huilan scolded Ye Tiance, you trash. When was it your turn to interrupt here? If it wasn't for young Master Ji's father to help, who else could it be? Then he said gently to Ji Boduan, young Master Ji, you don't have to be angry with that kind of thing. Auntie believes you. Although you lied before, it is excusable. After all, it is for Qingcheng's sake. Ji Boduan's face lit up. I thought these stupid old ladies really knew how to assist. So he struck while the iron was hot. Auntie, you are right, I promise not to make similar mistakes again in the future. By the way, this is the red Ganoderma lucidum that I spent a lot of money to buy for the Xiao family. It will definitely be a great supplement. He opened a gift box in his hand, which contained a piece of red Ganoderma lucidum the size of a cattail fan, exuding a medicinal fragrance. Zhang Huilan's eyes shone. Young Master Ji, this Ganoderma lucidum must be very valuable, right? Ji Boduan pretended to be low-key and said, it's only over 1 million, it's trivial. Everyone in the Xiao family was immediately amazed. The gift of more than 1 million yuan was really a generous gift. Comparing it to the fake ginseng sent by Ye Tiance, there was a huge difference. Ji Boduan said sarcastically to Ye Tiance, remember, you must learn from me when giving gifts. Give only the best, not worthless garbage. Ye Tiance said calmly, what can I learn from a fake Ganoderma lucidum? Not to mention it's poisonous. As soon as these words came out, the whole place was silent. Fake Ganoderma. Poisonous. Everyone looked at Ji Boduan. The latter's face immediately darkened. Fart. I asked a friend to buy this red Ganoderma, why is it fake? You are slandering me, I want you to apologize. Zhang Huilan said disdainfully, you are a freeloader. Do you know what Ganoderma lucidum is? Shut up. Everyone in the Xiao family who was shocked a second ago all came to their senses now. They all accused Ye Tiance. I almost got fooled by you. How could Mr. Ji send you fake Ganoderma lucidum, given his status? I think you are just not convinced by young Master Ji's red Ganoderma lucidum and are deliberately smearing him. Xiao Qingcheng felt exhausted mentally and physically, and said with a sad face, Ye Tiance, you shouldn't slander young Master Ji. Apologize. In the past, Ye Tiance might have given in and listened to her, but now, there is no need. I saw him step forward and take the red Ganoderma lucidum, click it, and break it directly from the middle. This move frightened everyone's expressions. Is this kid crazy? Ji Boduan yelled loudly, "You bitch, this red Ganoderma lucidum is worth 1 million. If it's damaged, can you afford to pay for it?" Ye Tiance turned a deaf ear and pointed at the black color in the middle of the Ganoderma lucidum. The real red Ganoderma lucidum rhizome is red, but it is purple-black. True Ganoderma tastes slightly bitter, which can be said to be a good medicine, but it is fragrant. Judging from the texture of the umbrella cap, it is not red Ganoderma at all, not even Ganoderma, but a poisonous red giant mushroom, which is highly toxic and life-threatening after taking it. If you don't believe me, check it out online. A relative of the Xiao family didn't believe it. Just check. Then he was dumbfounded, because this was indeed not a red Ganoderma lucidum, but a poisonous red giant mushroom. Now everyone is confused. Zhang Huilan and Xiao Nan opened their mouths with incredible expressions on their faces. He was originally going to mock Ye Tiance, but instead he was slapped in the face. It was so painful. Xiao Qingcheng's face was even a little hot. Ye Tiance brought the poisonous red giant mushroom in front of Ji Boduan and asked coldly, "You gave this to Grandpa because you wanted to kill someone intentionally? Do you know how many years you will be sentenced?" My. Ji Boduan was so frightened that he was sweating profusely. He actually didn't understand how a good red Ganoderma lucidum could turn into a poisonous red giant mushroom. I had no choice but to bite the bullet and explain, "I didn't mean it. It must have been a trick on my friend who helped me buy Ganoderma lucidum." "Everything I said is true," Ye Tiance said. "Whether it is true or not, we will find out if we call the police." Ji Boduan's face turned pale. At this time, Zhang Huilan stood up to help him out and said, "Young Master Ji said it was not intentional. You are staring at it endlessly, right? Even if they sent the wrong Ganoderma lucidum, at least they spent the money with their heart in mind. It's not as good as yours. Is the worthless fake ginseng much better?" Xiao Nan shouted angrily. "In my opinion, your fake ginseng is really poisonous. You must have a grudge against our Xiao family and want to kill Grandpa. I won't let you bitch succeed." As he spoke, he suddenly took the century-old snow ginseng and threw it on the ground. "Lift your feet in front of everyone." Bang bang bang. Trampled to pieces in an instant. Chapter 14 Purple Gold Heavenly Palace. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Tiance's face darkened. "Do you know what you did?" Xiao Nan said arrogantly. "Didn't I just crush your fake ginseng to prevent you from poisoning my grandfather?" Ye Tiance clenched his fists and said to Xiao Qingcheng, "Your brother should be disciplined." Xiao Qingcheng frowned and said, "Xiao Nan went too far, but he just stepped on a fake ginseng. It's not a big deal." "What else do you want?" Ye Tiance was stunned for a moment, then shook his head in disappointment and said, "Very good, I hope you won't regret it." After talking about this, he turned around and left without any nostalgia. Zhang Huilan spat on the ground. "Bah! This trash is trying to make things up. What is there for us to regret?" At this moment, Wu Xingye, the director of the hospital, came over and said, "Although the Xiao family leader is out of danger, his vitality is severely damaged. He needs precious medicine to restore his health. Please look for it." Xiao Qingcheng quickly asked, "Dean Wu, do you need any precious medicines? Please recommend them." Wu Xingye replied, "I heard that some time ago, someone auctioned a century-old snow ginseng from the Jiangnan Medicine King. If the Xiao family owner takes it, it will not only cure the disease, but even prolong life. I just don't know who it was auctioned by, but I can ask someone to find out." When I heard the words 100-year-old snow ginseng, Xiao Qingcheng's delicate body trembled. It seemed like he was thinking of something very scary. She pointed to the ginseng on the ground that was trampled by Xiao Nan and said, "Dean Wu, is this the century-old snow ginseng you mentioned?" "Oh." Wu Xingye bent down and picked up the ginseng fragments and broken ginseng whiskers to observe. Suddenly his eyes widened. "This is the century-old snow ginseng. It's in top quality. Where did you get it? How did it break into pieces like this?" Faced with Wu Xingye's questioning, Xiao Qingcheng awkwardly briefly told what happened. Wu Xingye was so angry that his beard was trembling. This 100-year-old snow ginseng is worth at least 5 million, and it has a price but no market. I haven't even seen it a few times, and you just ruined it like this. What a waste. Hearing this, everyone in the Xiao family was heartbroken. Who would have thought that Ye Tiance, that loser, was telling the truth? 5 million worth of ginseng was destroyed in this way. Ji Boduan's face was also burning with pain. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lips tightly, her breathing became heavier, and her heart hurt. She actually misunderstood Ye Tiance again. Forced to regain her composure, she asked, Dean Wu, can this century-old snow ginseng still be used? Wu Xingye shook his head. Century snow ginseng is different from other ginseng. It must be preserved intact to be effective. Now that it is rotten like this, the medicinal effect has been lost, and it has no much value. Xiao Qingcheng was so angry that she slapped Xiao Nan. It's all your fault for trampling on the century-old snow ginseng. What should I do now? The rest of the Xiao family also pointed fingers at Xiao Nan and complained constantly. Xiao Nan was like a quail, lowering his head and keeping silent. He complained in his heart why Ye Tiance didn't explain clearly earlier, causing him to be embarrassed at this moment. After Wu Xingye leaves, everyone in the Xiao family began to discuss, wondering where Ye Tiance got the century-old snow ginseng. Zhang Huilan gritted her teeth and said, it must have been stolen from somewhere. This kid's hands and feet are the most unclean. But Xiao Qingcheng didn't believe this statement. The century-old snow ginseng was so precious, how could it be stolen so easily? It should have been given as a gift, but she couldn't figure out who it was. But no matter what, she misunderstood Ye Tiance's intentions this time. Let's explain it clearly when we meet next time. Soon, she regained her composure and said, I'll figure out a way to deal with the traditional Chinese medicine. Tomorrow night is the bidding meeting. I'll go back to the company to prepare the materials first. Mom, I'll trouble you and your brother to take care of Grandpa these 2 days. Zhang Huilan nodded. Okay, then go quickly. Xiao Qingcheng left quickly. Qingcheng, I have some information to share with you. I will go to the company with you. Ji Boduan quickly chased after him. The rest of the Xiao family also left one after another, and finally Zhang Huilan, mother and son were left. After a while, the call bell rang in the ward. Zhang Huilan and Xiao Nan went in immediately. It turned out that Xiao Hongming woke up. Zhang Huilan asked, Dad, do you feel better? Xiao Hongming nodded and asked weakly, I asked Qingcheng to call Tiance. Has he come? Zhang Huilan and Xiao Nan looked at each other. Then Xiao Nan said, Grandpa, don't mention that white-eyed wolf. He didn't come at all. He also said that we should sever our relationship and stop interacting with each other in the future. Xiao Hongming didn't believe it. How could this happen? He shouldn't be that kind of person. I'll give him a call and bring me my mobile phone. Xiao Nan quickly advised, Grandpa, calling you now will only make you more angry and aggravate your condition. Why not take a good rest and pretend that you have never known Ye Tiance? Ugh. Xiao Hongming sighed in disappointment and closed his eyes again. 10 o'clock in the evening, Zijin Tiangong. This is the most luxurious villa area in Jiangnan City, located on Purple Mountain. The Zijin Tiangong Villa No. 1 at the top of the mountain is priced at as high as 10 billion. At this time, Ye Tiance was standing at the door of the villa, entered the password, opened the door and walked in. Inside the villa, the decoration is luxurious and grand, just like a palace. This kid's lair is pretty good. For the sake of him giving me the villa, I'll keep him in prison for a few years. Ye Tianji nodded with satisfaction. In fact, the original owner of this villa was the Jiangnan god of war Lin Feng. Relying on his unique kung fu skills, this man became the strongest man in Jiangnan City in just a few years. He was awarded the title of God of War and was highly respected. However, 3.5 years ago, this person was so confident that he went to that place alone to challenge the masters. Few people know that that place is actually an isolated island prison called the Fallen City. The most vicious criminals in the world are imprisoned. There is the largest terrorist leader in the Yilan Kingdom, there is a top assassin who assassinated the emperor, and there is also a heavy-duty tycoon worth trillions. Master Ye Tiance is the warden of the prison and is respectfully called the Old Master by the criminals. Ye Tiance is the young master. The master and the apprentice have all the power of life and death in the prison. No matter how arrogant a macho man is, he can only kneel in front of their masters and disciples, and bow down and submit. Ever since his master traveled abroad 5 years ago, Ye Tiance has been the highest authority in the fallen city. In order to avoid suffering any more, the group of serious criminals flattered Ye Tiance in various ways: money, power, connections, etc. are all dedicated. 3.5 years ago, Jiangnan war god Lin Feng broke into the fallen city, claiming to wipe out all masters. In the end, he was knocked down by Ye Tiance with a mouthful. Because Lin Feng kicked down the gate of the fallen city, he was punished by Ye Tiance and sent to the fallen city for 10 years and was responsible for cleaning the toilets. At this point, Lin Feng seemed to disappear out of thin air, and there was no news again. 3 years ago, when Ye Tiance left the fallen city, in order to show his goodwill, Lin Feng took the initiative to give him the villa, hoping that Ye Tiance could keep him in prison for a few years longer. It's just that Ye Tiance has been living in Zhao's house since he returned to Jiangnan City to marry Xiao Qingcheng. Therefore, this was his first time coming to this villa. Ye Tiance leaned on the sofa, took out the remaining marriage documents from his bag, and opened them one by one and read them briefly. I returned 1 letter today, and there are still 8 marriage letters left. The other 8 people are not in Jiangnan City. I need to go there one by one. The nearest one is Rong Meiyan of the Rong family in the provincial capital. I heard that the Rong family is one of the 4 major families in the provincial capital and is far more powerful than the 3 major families in Jiangnan City. After I finish handling the matters at hand, I will let's go to Rong's house. Ye Tiance closed the marriage certificate and put it in his bag. Just as he was about to take a bath, the doorbell of the villa suddenly rang. Through surveillance, I saw a strange and charming woman wearing a silver cheongsam standing outside the door. Chapter 15 Tendering Chamber of Commerce. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside the door, the cheongsam woman said, "Jiangnan god of war, I saw the lights on in the villa. Are you there?" Ye Tiance frowned slightly, thinking that Lin Feng had disappeared for 3.5 years. Why would a woman still come to him? Could it be that she was a romantic debt incurred by Lin Feng? Not to mention, this sexy style is what that guy likes. Forget it, it's better not to deal with this kind of woman, just pretend you haven't seen her. Ye Tiance blocked the doorbell, turned around and went to the bathroom to take a shower to prepare for an early rest. After all, the tenderers' meeting will be waiting for him tomorrow night. The uninformed cheongsam girl continued, "I am Rong Meiyan from the Rong family in the provincial capital. I have admired your heroic deeds for a long time. Since you suddenly disappeared 3.5 years ago, I have been looking for news about you. I am very happy to see you back today. If possible, can you come out and see me?" However, several minutes passed and she received no response. "Jiangnan god of war, I won't disturb you anymore. I'll come visit you when I have time." Rong Meiyan turned around and left. Walking all the way to the gate of the mountainside villa area, a tall maid was waiting there. Seeing the uncontrollable joy on Rong Meiyan's face, she asked, "Miss, haven't you come here to see the Jiangnan god of war's villa several times? Why are you so happy today?" Rong Meiyan smiled and said, "You don't know something. The lights in Jiangnan war god's villa are on today." "What does it mean?" "He has returned after disappearing for 3.5 years. "Really?" The maid looked excited. "A legend like the Jiangnan god of war. Which girl doesn't regard him as an idol?" Rong Meiyan nodded and said, "It's a pity that he didn't come out to see me. But it's understandable. After all, he rarely showed up back then. Even when he did show up, he always showed his face with a mask. No one has seen his true face." Then she suddenly thought of something and ordered, "Buy a villa in the Zijin Villa district immediately, as close as possible to Villa number 1 of the God of War in Jiangnan, the better." "Yes." Rong Meiyan turned around and looked at the topmost villa with a charming look. As the saying goes, those who are near the water get the moon first. If we can get your help, the expansion of our provincial capital Rongjia in Jiangnan City will be even more powerful. If my relationship with you can go further, I will have reason to refuse the marriage contract from my family, and I won't have to marry that fiancé whose name I don't even know. However, she doesn't know that the owner who lives in Villa number 1 is no longer the god of war of Jiangnan, it's the fiancé she doesn't want to marry. At dusk the next day, Henteng Hotel, at the door, luxury cars and wealthy businessmen gathered here, all to participate in tonight's bidding meeting. Ye Tiance just arrived here from Villa number 1 of Zijin Tiangong. A red Maserati stopped in front of him, and a 1.7-meter tall woman wearing a red dress got out of the car. Her legs are slender, her facial features are exquisite, and her perfect figure exudes a unique cold and arrogant temperament. It was Han Ruoyun. Originally, she was going to come with her father Han Tianjing tonight, but the family company had an urgent matter that Han Tianjing needed to deal with, so Han Ruoyun came alone. Han Ruoyun directly blocked Ye Tiance's path. What a coincidence, we met here, and you are also here to attend the tendering Chamber of Commerce meeting. Ye Tiance frowned, not wanting to talk to this narcissistic young lady. Please give way. Han Ruoyun did not do so. You tell me something and I'll get out of the way. What's up? Who did you call last night to fire Sun Jun? In other words, what is your relationship with Mr. Long? Faced with Han Ruoyun's question, Ye Tiance responded simply, no comment. Han Ruoyun was so angry that he gritted his teeth. She still couldn't understand why the good-for-nothing son-in-law who was kicked out by the Xiao family made Chen Feng obey and fire Sun Jun. Does he really know Mr. Long? Then will he know the big shot behind Mr. Long? If you know him, can you ask him what the big shot likes? This way she can do her homework in advance. No, I happened to meet Ye Tiance here today, so I stopped him and asked. Unexpectedly, the other party didn't say a word. This bastard really took the game of playing hard to get to the extreme. Just when she was thinking about how to get Ye Tiance's answer, two women were approaching. The most dazzling one among them is a woman wearing a white hip-hugging skirt and a pair of long black silk legs, exuding a cold aura. It was Xiao Qingcheng who brought assistant Sun over. Ye Tiance, last night When Xiao Qingcheng was about to explain the misunderstanding in the hospital last night, he suddenly caught a glimpse of the beautiful woman wearing a red dress next to him. Regardless of appearance, figure, and temperament, he is not inferior to himself in the slightest, especially those pairs of silhouettes are actually a bit more magnificent than my own 36D. When Ye Tiance saw Xiao Qingcheng, a hint of complexity flashed in his eyes, and he asked calmly, why did Mr. Xiao call me? Nothing. Xiao Qingcheng shook his head, but uncontrollably looked at the woman next to him. Who is she? Why did you appear next to Ye Tiance? At this time, Han Ruoyun also noticed Xiao Qingcheng. For some reason, she caught some hostility in his eyes, a hint of cunning flashed in her eyes, and she took the initiative to reach out to Xiao Qingcheng and say hello. Let me meet you, my name is Han Ruoyun. Xiao Qingcheng also extended her hand and said, hello, Xiao Qingcheng. Despite her calm expression at this time, her heart was already in turmoil. So this woman is Han Ruoyun. Is it true that Ye Tiance went to the Han family to recruit a bride successfully? It must be. Otherwise, Han Ruoyun wouldn't have answered the call to him last night. We won't stand together now. Thinking of this, Xiao Qingcheng felt a little inexplicably irritable. At this time, Han Ruoyun seemed to have thought of something and whispered in Ye Tiance's ear, this time, I will help you support the situation. Remember to answer the question I just asked later. Ye Tiance frowned. No need. Han Ruoyun turned a deaf ear and raised her chin slightly and said, so you are Ye Tiance's ex-wife. I have admired you for a long time. I have admired you for a long time. Although his words were gentle, his attitude was quite aggressive. Xiao Qingcheng bit her lower lip, feeling a sense of grievance in her heart. Although I initiated the divorce, you turned around and brought other women to show off your power in front of me. Is this who you are? Xiao Qingcheng responded with a sneer, I am indeed his ex-wife. If I could have found out earlier that he was half-hearted about marriage, I would have filed for divorce earlier. Hear this, Ye Tiance was a little unhappy and said coldly, you are the one who is half-hearted, right? Before you filed for divorce, you had nothing to do with the Ji family. Xiao Qingcheng frowned and was about to argue that she and Ji Boduan only had a cooperative relationship. A familiar voice suddenly sounded from behind. What's wrong with Qingcheng and me? They are a match made in heaven. It's a million times better than a good-for-nothing loser like you, right? Ji Boduan appeared in a white suit. He walked up to Xiao Qingcheng and praised, "Qingcheng, you look so beautiful today. I believe you will be the shining star at tonight's Chamber of Commerce." Xiao Qingcheng seemed a little reluctant and said, "That's not necessarily the case." "Okay." Ji Boduan was stunned for a moment, and then he noticed Han Ruoyun next to Ye Tiance, and his eyes suddenly froze. "Tsk, she is indeed the eldest lady of the Han family, her appearance is not inferior to Xiao Qingcheng. Metaphorically speaking, Xiao Qingcheng belongs to the cold lotus, which can only be viewed from a distance and cannot be played with. Han Ruoyun belongs to the blooming peony, proud and incomparable. Both have their own merits, of course, the pair of waves on Han Ruoyun's chest are obviously more magnificent." This made Ji Boduan's resentment towards Ye Tiance grow even more. "You were kicked away by Xiao Qingcheng, and then you hugged a beautiful woman with more financial resources. What kind of bullshit luck is that?" He smiled at Han Ruoyun and reminded, "Miss Han, I advise you to stay away from this trash named Yi. It is better to interact with my brother more." Unexpectedly, Han Ruoyun looked disgusted and said, "Forget it. He only knows how to kneel down and call daddy in public. I can't afford to embarrass that person." Chapter 16 Han Ruoyun vs Xiao Qingcheng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ji Boduan's face darkened and he was a little unhappy. When he came home last night, he found that his younger brother Ji Boxiao had been locking himself in his room and breaking all kinds of things to vent his anger. After asking, I learned about Ji Boxiao's humiliating experience at the Tianlong Hotel, which brought disgrace to the Ji family. As a result, the Chamber of Commerce is too embarrassed to come tonight. Originally, he was curious, where did Ye Tiance get the extraordinary ability to show off his power in Tianlong Hotel? Now I understand that it must be Han Ruoyun who helped secretly and sang along with Ye Tiance openly. They teamed up to trick his younger brother. Ji Boduan narrowed his eyes and said, "This man named Yi is a white-eyed wolf, that's why he was kicked out by Qingcheng. Miss Han, you chose to take over the second-hand goods, doesn't this sound good?" "Of course, forget it if you don't care." Han Ruoyun's pupils shrank slightly. Of course she cares about this matter. But she is born with a stubborn temper and likes to go against others. She suddenly hugged Ye Tiance's arm and made a very intimate gesture. He raised his chin and said arrogantly, "This lady is happy, can you take care of it?" Ji Bo was confused. Xiao Qingcheng was stunned. Even Ye Tiance was a little confused and asked in a low voice, "What are you doing?" He subconsciously wanted to pull his hand away from the pair of surging waves, but Han Ruoyun hugged her tighter and warned, "Don't move." Seeing this, Xiao Qingcheng's eyes flashed with loneliness, and he laughed at himself. "Ye Tiance, it turns out that you have already chosen your retreat. Congratulations." Originally, she had some illusions about the relationship between Ye Tiance and Han Ruoyun, thinking it was a coincidence. Look now, everything is real. Ye Tiance frowned. He wanted to explain, but he thought that even if he did, what would be the use? Has she ever heard my explanation? So he didn't speak. Xiao Qingcheng returned to his former coldness and said, "Ye Tiance, you once said you would make me regret filing for divorce, but now I am extremely sure that this is the wisest choice I have made." After saying these words, she and assistant son entered the Hentang Hotel first. Ji Boduan stepped forward and patted Ye Tiance on the shoulder. He said with a sneer, "A trash who only relies on women is nothing in my eyes. I will settle the old accounts between us slowly with you." Ye Tiance took away Ji Boduan's hand. "There are some old accounts, you don't need to come to me, I will come to your family to settle them slowly." Ji Boduan didn't hear the other meaning in Ye Tiance's words and didn't take it seriously at all. He snorted coldly and turned around to chase Xiao Qingcheng. At this time, Han Ruoyun let go of Ye Tiance's arm and opened a little distance. He complained, I almost choked this young lady to death because you took advantage of me so much." Ye Tiance said helplessly, "You obviously took the initiative to hug me, but it wasn't me. But I have to say that my arm felt quite comfortable and soft just now." "I do not care," Han Ruoyun ordered, "anyway, I will act with you and help you save face." You have to answer my previous question. What is your relationship with Mr. Long? Do you know the big shot behind him? Ye Tiance said. That big shot is me. Han Ruoyun immediately glared and said, you're talking nonsense. Lord Long is the chairman of Tianlong Group. Even my father, the richest man, has to treat me with courtesy. How can the big man behind him be a son-in-law like you who the Xiao family kicked out? You know, that big shot is the man she likes. It can't be second-hand goods that others don't want. Ye Tiance rolled his eyes and said, I don't say stalking, but I don't believe it even if I say it. It's really difficult to serve. Let's go. Just run away. Han Ruoyun was stomping his feet in anger from behind. You bastard, you are eating for nothing and not doing anything about others. If you go in later and meet your ex-wife, I will not care about you. Hentang Hotel, the Chamber of Commerce hall is very lively, the guests present either exchanged glasses or had friendly discussions. In the middle of the hall, Assistant Sun complained unhappily, Mr. Xiao, you shouldn't have given face to that white-eyed wolf outside just now. You should have given him a good beating. I can't stand his arrogance, Xiao Qingcheng said. It doesn't matter what happens between me and him, but at least he is sincerely filial to Grandpa, otherwise he wouldn't have given the 1,000-year snow ginseng. For this reason, I can't do anything. Assistant Sun reminded, why are you so confused? That man named Ji gave a 1,000-year-old snow ginseng, how could he be filial? He clearly felt that he had hugged the richest woman's lap, defrauded her of the 1,000-year snow ginseng, and then deliberately gave it as a gift. Show off, to prove that you are wrong to propose divorce. Xiao Qingcheng was suddenly startled, and a hint of sadness flashed in his eyes. Could it be that this is the truth? Ji Boduan said angrily, Qingcheng, tonight you win the bid and get an order of 100 billion, so what if the richest man's daughter is in front of you? What's more, let me help you introduce the big shot behind Mr. Long. Once he takes a fancy to him, he will surely rise to great heights, and the only person who will regret it will be that waste. Assistant Sun asked expectantly, young Master Ji, can you really help introduce that big shot? Ji Boduan pretended to be profound and said, that's natural. And he added mysteriously, not only that, the day after tomorrow is my father's 60th birthday, and even that big shot will come to celebrate his birthday. Qingcheng, you must come with your family, you must know that before he came today, his father Ji Wuli had made a special trip to visit Zhao Hailong and asked Lord Long for help in connecting the Ji family with the big shot. He was even willing to give half of the family property as a meeting gift. Therefore, in Ji Boduan's view, the Ji family has boarded that ship. Xiao Qingcheng nodded expectantly and said, I will definitely go to celebrate your father's birthday. Xiao Qingcheng's arrival quickly attracted the attention of many guests. The inside news about the Xiao family's unofficial bid has been spread for a long time, so these people came over to toast and visit. There were two middle-aged men walking in front. A man in a grey suit raised his glass and said with a smile, Mr. Xiao, you are both talented and beautiful. Please look after me if you have any trouble in the future business. Another person was wearing a Chinese tunic suit and said kindly, congratulations to Mr. Xiao for winning the bid in advance, and we hope to cooperate with you more in the future. Xiao Qingcheng responded calmly, but he could not suppress his excitement in his heart, because these two are Li Jingye, chairman of Ningyuan Group, and Xie Bin, chairman of Hongda Group. The power in Jiangnan City is second only to the three major families, and far more powerful than the Xiao family. Now, he is actually being polite to himself, which is all inseparable from the news of winning the bid. This made her believe it even more. After tonight, the facts will prove that she was right to file for divorce. It can only be Ye Tiance who is wrong. In the corner of the venue, Ye Tiance found a chair and sat down. He checked the time and saw that it was only 7:10, and there were still 50 minutes before the official start of the Chamber of Commerce at 8 o'clock. At this time, the phone rang. It was Zhao Hailong calling. Mr. Yi, I have two things to report to you. Explain. Zhao Hailong said respectfully, the first thing is that Ji Wuli contacted me just now and wanted me to help match you. To this end, I am willing to dedicate half of my family property to you. I even want to invite you to his 60th birthday the day after tomorrow. Ye Tiance said calmly, let him go. In fact, even if Ji Wuli didn't invite him, Ye Tiance would have already decided to attend the birthday party. After all, the only clue to the fire in the Yi family was in the Ji family, Zhao Hailong continued. The second thing is that the final list of candidates for winning the bid tonight has been reselected, and the electronic file has been sent to your email. Please make your choice. Understood. Ye Tiance hung up the phone and clicked on his mobile phone email. There are 5 final candidates in total, and the Xiao family is still on the list, although it was previously decided that the Xiao family would be the bidder. To be honest, the Xiao family had no flaws in terms of strength, development potential, bidding documents, etc., and was extremely competitive. Of course, this would not be possible without his secret support over the past 3 years. As for the remaining 4, 3 have obvious shortcomings and will not be considered. Only the last Hui group has conditions that are not inferior to the Xiao family in all aspects, and some conditions are even stronger. According to the remarks, although Hui group has only been established for half a year, it looks unremarkable, but the companies that competed with them before either went bankrupt or were acquired by strong forces, which is unstoppable. After a detailed investigation, Zhao Hailong learned that the Hui group was inextricably linked to the Black Tiger Society, the largest underground force in Jiangnan City. Very few people know this news. Ye Tiance said to himself, I remember that in a fallen city prison, there was a dung picker named Zhang Xiaohu who did a good job and let me be released early. I heard that an organization called the Black Tiger Society was established not long after he was released. Could it be him? At this time, a graceful woman wearing a white cheongsam came over. He leaned over slightly and asked, Sir, is there anyone around here? No one. Ye Tiance raised his head and answered subconsciously. When he saw this charming woman, he was stunned. Is that you? Chapter 17 The 2RD Fiancé. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rong Meiyan raised her eyebrows and asked, Have you seen me? Ye Tiance suddenly realized that he almost let something slip, so he added awkwardly, Sorry, I recognized the wrong person, that he didn't want to be involved in the romantic debt owed by Jiangnan war god Lin Feng. So the two of them sat quietly without disturbing each other, but Ye Tiance didn't know that the 2 fiancés beside him were the 2 fiancés in his marriage contract. Rong Meiyan also didn't know that Ye Tiance was the fiancé she didn't want to marry. At this time, a strange voice suddenly sounded. Yi, I didn't expect you to sneak in. You must have borrowed Miss Han's help, right? Ji Boduan walked over in a swagger. He originally planned to come over and pour a glass of red wine, but when he saw Ye Tiance, he came over to ridicule him. Ye Tiance responded coldly, Does this have anything to do with you? Ji Boduan raised his red wine glass and said with a condescending air, No one is allowed to enter the tendering chamber held by Mr. Long, except the powerful and famous. Why do you, a son-in-law who has been expelled from the Xiao family, have the dignity to sit here? Get out yet. Ye Tiance's expression was calm. Ask Zhao Hailong, if he lets me go, can his chamber of commerce continue to operate? Ji Boduan immediately scolded, How dare you, are you worthy of Mr. Long's name? If it reaches Mr. Long's ears, even Miss Han won't be able to protect you. Ye Tiance leaned on the chair and said calmly, I, Ye Tiance, need others to act as guarantees when I act. Ji Boduan laughed out loud, This kid is so arrogant that he has lost his mind. But when he accidentally caught a glimpse of the Cheongsam girl next to Ye Tiance, his eyes immediately widened. What a stunning woman! Different from Xiao Qingcheng's cold beauty and Han Ruoyun's proud beauty, the Cheongsam girl in front of her is more charming, beautiful but not coquettish, gorgeous but not vulgar. He had never seen it before. He straightened his tie, extended his hand to Rong Meiyan with a confident smile and said, Hello, beauty, I am Ji Boduan, the eldest son of the Ji family, one of the 3 major families in Jiangnan. Let me meet you. Rong Meiyan just nodded and did not reach out. Ji Boduan retracted his hand in embarrassment and reminded, Beauty, the person next to you is a disaster star. I advise you to stay away from him to avoid bad luck. Rong Meiyan first glanced at Ye Tiance, then smiled faintly. Are you asking me to do something? She had a harmless smile on her face, but her tone sounded full of superiority, and there was no room for resistance. This was something he had never seen in his father Ji Wuli. Before he knew the details of the other party, Ji Boduan didn't dare to advance, so he could only apologize with an awkward smile. No. I don't mean that. Then he gave Ye Tiance a hard look and left. He had just walked not far when he met Han Ruoyun, who was walking towards him, looking around as if he was looking for something. Ji Boduan rolled his eyes and asked proactively, "Miss Han, are you looking for someone named Ji?" Han Ruoyun said coldly and arrogantly, "Who does this young lady find have anything to do with you?" "Of course it has nothing to do with me, but—" Ji Boduan pointed to Ye Tiance and added, "But the man named Yi is sitting with a strange beauty. Who knows what they are doing?" Han Ruoyun followed his finger and saw Rong Meiyan beside Ye Tiance. Although she didn't know the other party, her intuition told her that the other party's identity was not simple, and he was also sitting next to Ye Tiance. She suddenly understood that Ye Tiance had no background at all, let alone the big shot. The reason why he is so arrogant is entirely because of the woman next to him. This bastard, even if he has no ability, he still goes around trying to hook up with women. What the hell is that? Ji Boduan asked, "Miss Han, why don't you come over and take a look?" "What a fart!" Han Ruoyun said the next sentence in a bad mood, turned around and went elsewhere. Ji Boduan smiled proudly. "Yi, you have lost Miss Han's protection, how can you still dance?" At this time, Xiao Qingcheng, an assistant son, came over. Assistant son asked, "Master Ji, where were you just now?" "We have been looking for you." Ji Boduan recounted what had just happened, adding some exaggerations in some places. Hearing this, Xiao Qingcheng glanced at Ye Tiance. "My heart felt very blocked, and I hated him even more." Assistant son spat, "Bah! The weakling is so disgusting. He kneels down and licks a rich girl when he sees her. I suspect that he sneaked into the Chamber of Commerce just to be with the rich woman." Ji Boduan nodded and said, "If you ask me, if you have such an impure bastard, you should ask the security guards to drive him out." Xiao Qingcheng sighed and said, "Forget it, as long as he does not affect the Chamber of Commerce. After all, the bidding results later are more important." Assistant son glanced at his phone and suddenly his expression changed. "Mr. Xiao, please read the Jiangnan Business Forum." "What happened?" Xiao Qingcheng turned on her phone in confusion and logged into the Jiangnan Business Forum. This is a forum specially organized for the business elites of Jiangnan City. All kinds of business insider information will be updated here, 99% fidelity. Whether it was the Xiao family that had been chosen to win the bid before, or tonight the big shot behind Zhao Hailong was going to appear. This information is all revealed from here. Just now, someone anonymously posted on the forum that the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce's tender was originally determined to be Zhao's bid, but it suddenly changed to 5 new bidders. Long Yi has submitted it to the big shot for approval, and is waiting for the final result. Various information about the 5 companies is also attached below. Xiao Qingcheng's face turned ugly. Why did the winning bid suddenly become 5 candidates? Assistant son asked in confusion, "Young Master Ji, it wasn't you who said you were going to mediate, and we were already determined to let Xiao win the bid. What's going on?" This. How could Ji Boduan know what was going on? But he could only bite the bullet and explain, "Well, isn't there still the Xiao family on the list? There are just 4 more candidates. Your conditions are excellent in all aspects, don't worry. You will definitely win the bid." Xiao Qingcheng shook his head and said, "The other 3 companies are fine, but Huwei Group has been very popular in our Jiangnan city recently. It is rumored that it has a big background. I don't know how to compete with them." Ji Boduan patted his chest and said, "Our Ji family knows that big shot, we just won the bid. I'll call my dad right away and make sure it's done well." Xiao Qingcheng said continuously, "Sorry to trouble you." Ji Boduan walked to the other side and called his father Ji Wuli several times, but no one answered the phone. In the end, he could only send a few messages to ask if he could help. At the same time, Ye Tiance has replied to Zhao Hailong's email and decided that the winning bidder will be the Xiao family. This is not because he is thinking about his old relationship, but because he feels that the relationship between the Black Tigers behind the Huwei Group is complicated and not suitable for cooperation. Considering the actual interests of the group, the Xiao family should be chosen. Ye Tiance got up and went to the self-service area to pour a drink, and happened to bump into Ji Boduan, who was calling back. Ji Boduan sneered coldly, "Wimp, you're here just to eat and drink, right?" Ye Tiance frowned and was about to respond. Assistant Sun rushed over and scolded, "Yi, are you sick? Why do you always trouble young Master Ji?" Xiao Qingcheng, who also came over, looked quite dissatisfied. Ye Tiance said coldly, "Open your eyes and see clearly, he is the one causing trouble, not me." Assistant Sun said disdainfully, "Nonsense, young Master Ji is contacting the big shot behind Mr. Long to help the Xiao family win the bid. How can I bother to trouble you? Do you think everyone is as petty as you? Trying to win the winning bid?" Ye Tiance shook his head and said, "It's not necessary at all, because I have already decided on the Xiao family's bid." Chapter 18 Ji Boduan was beaten. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hear this, Assistant Sun immediately mocked, "Young man named Ji, stop being funny. Do you think you are the big shot and can decide the outcome of the bid?" Xiao Qingcheng said impatiently, "Since we have filed for divorce, we will separate ourselves. Please don't cause any more trouble for me." "I'm not in the mood to joke with you," Ye Tiance said calmly. "I'm not kidding, the big shot you talk about is me." Ji Boduan laughed out loud, "It's so funny. What's the identity of that big shot? Can you, a loser, impersonate him? If you were really him, I would have eaten 10 pounds of dog shit on the spot." Xiao Qingcheng held her forehead and shook her head. She thought Ye Tiance must be crazy. At this moment, Li Jingye, chairman of Ningyuan Group, and Xie Bin, chairman of Hongda Group, walked quickly and toasted. "Mr. Xiao. Congratulations. You led the Xiao family to win the bid and obtain an order of 100 billion, here's to you, let's have more cooperation between our two groups in the future." Xiao Qingcheng was a little confused by this sudden scene, embarrassingly explained, "To be honest with you, our Xiao family has to bid with 4 companies. The specific results will not be known until the big shot approves them. The results are not out yet." Li Jingye smiled and said, "Mr. Xiao is really low-key. The forum news has just been updated, saying that the big shot has decided that Xiao will win the bid. How can you say there is no result?" Hear this, Xiao Qingcheng immediately clicked on the mobile phone forum and saw the inside information about Zhao's winning bid. He said he would wait until 8 o'clock sharp, and Mr. Long would appear on stage with the big shot to announce the results. Assistant Sun and Ji Boduan also saw the news. Assistant Sun cheered, "Great. Mr. Xiao, we finally succeeded." Xiao Qingcheng was equally excited, and her hanging heart could finally let go. Unexpectedly, things turned out to be as Ye Tiance said, the Xiao family won the bid. But, how could he know in advance? Is it really? Xiao Qingcheng looked at Ye Tiance subconsciously, hesitating whether to ask. Assistant Sun quickly reminded, "Mr. Xiao, please tell Mr. Ji thank you quickly. It must be his credit for winning the bid." Xiao Qingcheng suddenly realized, yes, how could he, Ye Tiance, do such a thing? So he immediately thanked Ji Boduan and said, "Young Master Ji, I'm really troubling you." Ji Boduan said calmly, "It's not troublesome. After all, it's my dad who helps. I just made a phone call." These words were spoken humbly, but the show of enthusiasm on his face could not be concealed. He concluded that his father must have seen the message he sent and helped. Assistant Sun glanced at Ye Tiance and said, "Did you see that? Young Master Ji has great hands and eyes, but he behaves in a low-key and humble manner. Unlike you, you have no abilities and can only brag and claim credit." Ji Boduan said scornfully, "Dozes, after staying in the lower world for a long time, they like to think that they are awesome. In fact, they are not bullshit." Ye Tiance raised his eyebrows and asked, "Ji Boduan, why do you think your father helped solve this matter?" Ji Boduan shook off his bangs and said with a proud look on his face, "If it's not my dad, how can it be solved by a soft-hearted guy like you?" Ye Tiance narrowed his eyes and asked, "Oh. What evidence do you have that your father did it?" Ji Boduan said bravely, "My dad sent me a text message, saying that he did it." "What happened?" Ye Tiance frowned, he has never seen such a shameless person. "Then please, Mr. Ji, please dig out the text messages and show them to everyone." "How about that?" But as soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Qingcheng suddenly shouted, "Ye Tiance, are you finished?" She stared at Ye Tiance, with a look of hatred on her face. "Young Master Ji has repeatedly given in to you, but you insist on pushing your limits, even for the sake of such a pitiful dignity, you target without reason and lie habitually. I didn't expect you to be this kind of person." Ye Tiance frowned and said, "Do you think I'm targeting you for no reason?" "Are you a liar?" Xiao Qingcheng said seriously. "Isn't it?" Ye Tiance laughed dumbly. It turns out that the feelings of a 3-year marriage can't even be compared to the words of an outsider. Seeing that Ye Tiance didn't respond, Xiao Qingcheng thought he had acquiesced, and became even more annoyed. "Your villainous behavior will only make me more convinced that filing for divorce is the most correct choice. I will never regret it. In my eyes, the gap between you and Mr. Ji is as big as heaven and earth." Ji Boduan was ecstatic in his heart and said with a strange tone, "Qingcheng, there is no need to be angry with such a clown. In the final analysis, it is all my fault for being too good, especially for contacting that big shot to help your family win the bid, which caused this clown to completely break the defense and become incompetent and furious. Just stay away from him from now on." Assistant's son glared and scolded, "You are a freeloader, didn't you hear that? Why don't you get away?" Ye Tiance looked at Xiao Qingcheng's heartless face and felt a twinge in his heart. This time, he was completely disappointed. In this case, let them do whatever they want. Just as he was about to leave, a scornful young man with yellow hair came over with a cigarette in his mouth and asked Ji Boduan with a stern face, "You were the one who contacted that big shot and helped the Xiao family win the bid?" Ji Boduan glanced at the strange man in front of him, nodded proudly and said, "Exactly. Are you here to ask me to do something?" Boom. Unexpectedly, the yellow-haired young man punched him in the face. "Please paralyze me." Ji Boduan's nostrils bled on the spot and he took several steps back. Everyone present was shocked. Where did this yellow hair come from? "Do you even dare to fight young Master Ji?" Liu Ruyan scolded, "Be impudent. This is not the place for you to act wild." Xiaobin also said in a deep voice, "You bitch, apologize to young Master Ji immediately." The yellow-haired young man pointed at the two of them and scolded, "Shut up. It's none of your business." At this time, Ji Boduan touched a bloody nose, gritted his teeth and asked angrily, "Who are you? Why did you hit me?" The yellow-haired young man said arrogantly, "Mother sheepy. I am Zhang Chunlei, the boss of Huwei Group. If you hadn't been so messy, how could the Xiao family have snatched the winning bid? You're nosy, right? This young master wants to your fucking life." With that said, he charged forward with another punch. However, Ji Boduan, who had studied Taekwondo, first dodged the punch, and then kicked Zhang Chunlei to the ground with a high whip kick. Ji Boduan added a few more angry kicks. "Damn it, I can blend in if I want to. What's wrong? If you have the guts, try again." I was pretending to be cool, but I got punched in vain, and my mood must have exploded. Xiao Qingcheng quickly handed Ji Bo a tissue and said with a worried expression, "I'm sorry, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't have been involved and got punched in vain." Ji Boduan wiped away the nosebleed and said with an affectionate look, "Qingcheng, for you, even if I shed a little blood, I won't blink an eye even if I die." When assistant son saw this, he couldn't help but applaud, "Wow! Young Master Ji, you are so handsome and so secure." Liu Ruyan said, "A small boss of Huwei Group dares to provoke Mr. Ji. He doesn't know whether to live or die." Xiaobin echoed, "Young Master Ji is very brave and wise. Mr. Xiao, you have a great eye for selecting people." Xiao Qingcheng couldn't help but feel a faint warmth in his heart. Assistant son glanced at Ye Tiance and said, "Look at what young Master Ji has done for Mr. Xiao. Look at you, you are nothing but an embarrassment here." Xiao Qingcheng's eyes were also full of disappointment. Sure enough, the contrast between humans is greater than the gap between humans and dogs. Zhang Chunlei got up and said with a ferocious expression, "Nyang sheepy. You have offended someone you shouldn't have offended today. Not only will I kill you today, but I will also play hard toy with the Xiao girl next to you." Ji Bo went up and kicked Zhang Chunlei several steps back. "Ha! Provoking people who shouldn't be offended. It's a joke. In the entire Jiangnan city, are there people that my Ji family can't afford to offend? That the voice just fell. On the other side of the living room door, several fierce-looking strong men in black suddenly rushed in. Ji Boduan was firmly surrounded in the middle. Then, a bald man with scars on his face walked in, his aura so powerful that it made him breathless. His cold eyes fell on Ji Boduan. Today I want to see if the Jiangnan Ji family can offend our Black Tiger Club. Chapter 19 Violators Will Die. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The appearance of these people immediately caused panic. The Black Tiger Society is the largest underground force in Jiangnan City. Its president, Zhang Xiaohu, is known as the Underground Emperor Hu Yi. Even Jiangnan Wang Longyi has to show courtesy. How dare you provoke the Jiangnan Ji family? Ji Boduan swallowed his saliva and asked the bald man, "Who are you?" That the bald man said coldly, "I am Feng Lei from the Black Tiger Club." As soon as these words came out, the guests onlookers commented one after another. Black Tiger meets Feng Lei. He is one of the two great kings under Lord Tiger and his absolute confidant. I heard that Feng Lei was responsible for more than 10 lives. Last year, a rich second-generation man from out of town offended him. His limbs were cut off and thrown into the river to feed the bastard. His family members didn't even dare to fart. Hearing everyone's discussion, Ji Boduan's expression changed. He immediately stepped forward and flattered, "It turns out to be Brother Lei, whom I have admired for a long time. Don't get me wrong, I didn't dare to target the Black Tiger Society with what I said just now, but I meant to teach this piece of shit Zhang Qunlei a lesson. Please don't be offended." Snapped. Unexpectedly, Feng Lei slapped Ji Boduan directly. Feng Lei narrowed his eyes and asked coldly, "Do you know the identity of Master Qunlei?" Ji Boduan covered his swollen cheek, shook his head and said, I don't know." Snapped. This time, Zhang Qunlei came over and slapped Ji Boduan on the face. "Pick up your dog ears and listen. My uncle's name is Zhang Xiaohu, and I am his only nephew. Do you understand?" Hearing this, everyone around them was almost shocked. No wonder Hui Group has grown by leaps and bounds in the past 6 months. It turns out there is such a relationship behind it. As we all know, although Lord Tiger is close to women, he has no wife or children, not even illegitimate children. Zhang Qunlei is actually his only nephew. This portion is not low. At this moment, Ji Boduan felt his head buzzing. I wanted to show off, but I didn't expect to hit a brick wall. So he explained with a sad face, "Master Zhang, listen to me, this is all a misunderstanding." Boom! Before he could finish speaking, Zhang Qunlei kicked him in the stomach. Then came another tortoise boxing round. "I misunderstood that you are paralyzed. Nyang Shipi. Where was the force you used to hit me just now? Did you use it?" Ji Boduan held his head tightly and did not dare to fight back. Because he understood that if he raised a finger against Zhang Qunlei today, he would have to sacrifice his life tomorrow and the whole family would have to eat. Lai Jingye and Xie Bin, who were standing next to Ji Boduan before, looked at each other and took a few steps back, hiding in the crowd for fear of being spotted by Zhang Qunlei, let alone stand up and start a fight. "Stop fighting." At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Xiao Qingcheng stood out from the crowd with a solemn expression. Zhang Qunlei shook his sore fist, raised his eyebrows at Xiao Qingcheng and said, "Don't hit me if you tell me not to." "Why should I listen to you?" Xiao Qingcheng frowned and said, "This matter originally started from the bidding between our Xiao family and your Hui Group. It is a normal business competition. Everything depends on business means. Why do you hit people?" Zhang Qunlei kicked Ji Boduan down and walked to Xiao Qingcheng. He said gloomily, "Master, I can hit people if I want to, don't you agree?" It was the first time Xiao Qingcheng encountered such a scoundrel, and he was frightened in his heart, but he pretended to be calm and said, "Please let Mr. Ji go, and we can discuss it if we have anything to do." A flash of greed flashed in Zhang Qunlei's eyes and he said, "No problem. But you have to agree to 2 conditions." Xiao Qingcheng asked, "What are the conditions?" Zhang Qunlei said with a lewd smile, "I've heard that Mr. Xiao is the most beautiful CEO in Jiangnan City. Today's meeting is even more beautiful than the rumors, so my first condition is to sleep with me tonight and take good care of you. Xiao Qingcheng frowned and reminded, Master Zhang, please respect yourself. Zhang Chunlei said with a frivolous look, I haven't read much, and the word self-respect is not in the dictionary. TSK. Look at the black silk stockings you are wearing today, with letters on them. How do you know that I like this the most? Let me know quickly. Let me check it, is it strong? He bent down and touched Xiao Qingcheng's legs. Rogue! Xiao Qingcheng was so frightened that he took a step back and pushed Zhang Chunlei forcefully. Nyang Shipi, you little bitch, snapped. Zhang Chunlei slapped Xiao Qingcheng and ordered, control this bitch. The two strong men in black brought by Feng Lei held Xiao Qingcheng's arms down. Let me go. Let me go. Xiao Qingcheng struggled fiercely, but to no avail. Seeing this, Assistant Sun warned Zhang Chunlei sternly, this is the Tianlong Chamber of Commerce held by Master Long. If you beat people and disrupt the venue, aren't you afraid of Master Long's wrath? Zhang Chunlei sneered, isn't Master Long still not here? Besides, what if he is here? At worst, I call uncle here, what can Master Long do to me? Assistant Sun had no choice but to ask Ji Boduan for help, young Master Ji, you have great powers, think of a solution quickly. We can't let Mr. Xiao be bullied by this bastard. Ji Boduan lowered his head like a quail, as if he didn't hear anything, he didn't even dare to look at Zhang Chuanhu. Zhang Chuanhu smiled at Xiao Qingcheng and said, as for the second condition, you give me the result of winning the bid. You're dreaming. Xiao Qingcheng stared at Zhang Chuanhu fiercely, without any intention of giving in. You must know that she has put in countless efforts for this tender, which is related to the rise of the Xiao family. How could she easily transfer it to others? Zhang Chunlei raised his eyebrows, no. Very good, then he ordered Feng Lei, Brother Feng, please do something. Got it. Feng Lei walked up to Ji Boduan, stepped on his head, bent down and took out a dagger, the cold blade swayed in front of Ji Boduan's eyes, and he said grimly. Where to start first? How about cutting off the ears first? Ji Boduan turned pale with fright and quickly begged for mercy, Brother Feng, Grandpa Feng, please stop. I have something to say. He pulled his neck and shouted, Qingcheng. Why the hell are you hesitating? Hurry up and give the winning bid to Mr. Zhang. Let's sleep with Mr. Zhang again. I don't dislike you anyway. Do you really want me to die? At this, hear the words, Xiao Qingcheng's delicate body trembled suddenly, and a wave of grievance, shame, and anger surged into her heart. She couldn't believe that Ji Boduan would say such things to protect himself. Could it be that what he said before that he would take care of himself was all false? Xiao Qingcheng glanced at Ye Tiance again, seeing him standing there as if it had nothing to do with him, drinking a drink with a calm expression. Ha ha. Sure enough, men are all. Zhang Chunlei struck while the iron was hot and continued to threaten Xiao Qingcheng, I think your assistant is very loyal. If you don't agree to the two conditions I proposed, believe it or not, I will hand her over to the brothers in the club. By the way, the lives of your whole family depend on your choice. Xiao Qingcheng, who had always been aloof and calm in situations, finally couldn't hold himself any longer at this moment, tears fell down, faced with Zhang Chunlei threatening the lives of his whole family and assistant son's safety. She didn't have any chance to resist. Completely defeated, completely. She bit her lip and said unwillingly, I agree. You, let the others go. Ha ha ha. Good. Zhang Chunlei shouted with great excitement, everyone here today can bear witness. It was the Xiao family who took the initiative to hand over the winning bid to my Huwei group. Isn't it coercion by me? He glanced at everyone with a cold look, and said in a threatening tone, if you have any objections, you can stand up and tell me. The guests around him all lowered their heads, not daring to look directly at him. This is especially true for Li Jingye and Xie Bin. This made Zhang Chunlei feel extremely satisfied. But, right now, a voice sounded, Ye Tiance, object, swish. At this moment, all eyes were on him. Zhang Chunlei said with a cold expression, you object? Why? Ye Tiance put his hands in his pockets, he said with an indifferent expression, just because I gave the winning bid to the Xiao family, no one, listen to my words clearly, has the right to change it without my permission. Anyone who violates it will die. Chapter 20 Ye Tiance takes action. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Tiance's words were indifferent and penetrating, like thunder on the ground. Xiao Qingcheng's eyes were full of surprise, she didn't expect that at this moment, it would be Ye Tiance who dared to stand up. A little further away, Han Ruoyun also looked over, subconsciously sweating for Ye Tiance. What the hell is this bastard doing? Don't want to die. Further away, Rong Meiyan, wearing a white cheongsam, sat there like a queen, looking at everything thoughtfully. In short, at this moment, Ye Tiance was the focus of the entire venue. Zhang Chunlei looked Ye Tiance up and down, narrowing his eyes. He asked coldly, Xiao won the bid, did you really give it to him? Ye Tiance nodded and said, exactly. And I only have one condition for you, take your people and get out. Zhang Chunlei frowned. For some reason, he felt an invisible pressure from the man in front of him. It made him feel a little nervous. Could it be that he... But at this moment, Ji Boduan, who was lying on the ground, suddenly shouted, Master Zhang, he is actually the ex-husband who was kicked out of the house by Xiao Qingcheng. He just needs to get the divorce certificate. He is a loser. Don't be deceived by him. As soon as this statement came out, the onlookers immediately started discussing. Good guy. It turns out that he is a loser who has been living in the Xiao family for 3 years. I was almost deceived by him. I thought he was really some big shot. Zhang Chunlei secretly breathed a sigh of relief after hearing the discussion. He turned around and smiled at Ji Boduan. You bitch, you are quite aware of current affairs. Ji Boduan immediately flattered him and said, hey, this is what I should do. Please don't remember the villain's fault and let me go this time. Zhang Chunlei raised his hand and said, I will spare your life this time. Feng Lei retracted the dagger and released Ji Boduan. Ji Boduan thanked Zhang Chunlei repeatedly. The look of kneeling and licking is disgusting. Zhang Chunlei glared at Ye Tiance, Nyang Shipi. It turns out that you are a loser who slaps your face and pretends to be fat. He also talks arrogantly. Do you know the consequences of being a little master? Ye Tiance shook his head and said, it seems that you don't want to leave with others. Zhang Chunlei almost laughed out loud. You trash, how long have you been showing off in front of me? Or do you think you don't know how to write the word death? As soon as the words fell, for strong men in black had already approached, all of them are full of evil spirits, and they will pounce on Zhang Chunlei just for an order. Xiao Qingcheng suddenly said, stop. Zhang Chunlei asked with a smile, oh. Miss Xiao, do you have any advice? Xiao Qingcheng bit her lip and said, this matter has nothing to do with Ye Tiance. I have agreed to your 2 conditions and let him go. She said that since they filed for divorce, they would no longer interfere with each other in the future, therefore, she was unwilling to involve Ye Tiance. Zhang Chunlei hesitated for a moment, nodded and said, okay, I will listen to the beauty. Then he scolded Ye Tiance, trash, did you hear that? Your wife, no, your ex-wife should have let you go, why don't you get out of here? Ye Tiance remained unmoved. Zhang Chunlei smiled sinisterly and said, don't leave. I understand. I heard that you and Xiao Qingcheng have not had any physical contact after 3 years of marriage, so you want to see the young master sleeping with her with your own eyes. When I'm done, how about you line up behind me? It's not impossible, just kneel down and call me grandpa. Ha ha ha. The brothers of the Black Tiger Club burst into laughter. Ye Tiance shook his head and said, you asked for this. Suddenly, he dodged and rushed in front of Zhang Chunlei, raise your right hand and throw it down. Snapped. A heavy slap in the face knocked Zhang Chunlei to the ground, his mouth full of blood. Silence. The entire venue was filled with audible silence. No one expected that Ye Tiance would have the courage to attack Zhang Chunlei. Ji Boduan opened his eyes wide and scolded Ye Tiance, Yi, are you fucking crazy? Do you even dare to beat Mr. Zhang? Do you want to drag us all into the puddle to die? that he hurried over to help Zhang Chunlei up and asked with concern, "Master Zhang, are you okay?" Zhang Chunlei covered his cheek and spat out a mouthful of blood. There were actually 2 teeth in it. In an instant, an unstoppable anger rushed into my brain. "Go away!" Zhang Chunlei was so angry that he pushed Ji Boduan away, his eyes were red and he roared an order, "Brothers, come to me. Fuck him to death." I saw all the strong men in black, howling and shouting, surrounding Ye Tiance and rushing forward at the same time. Everyone thought that this would be an unsuspicious outcome, reversal, it appears. I saw Ye Tiance just gently raising his hand, making a fist, and punching. It looks slow, but it's actually as fast as lightning. Bang bang bang. In less than 3 seconds, more than 10 strong men in black were all knocked to the ground. Tables, chairs and benches fell into a pile, leaving a mess on the ground. However, Ye Tiance was unscathed and did not even move his feet. Everyone present was so shocked that their eyes widened. Zhang Chunlei also looked incredulous. He quickly gritted his teeth and shouted to Feng Lei, "Brother Feng, deal with him quickly and kill him." Feng Lei drew out his dagger and quickly stabbed Ye Tiance. "Suffer to death." But just when the tip of the dagger was only an inch away from Ye Tiance grabbed his wrist and twisted it hard. Click. Feng Lei screamed in pain. Ye Tiance turned a deaf ear and hit Feng Lei on the chin with uppercuts, boom. The latter's eyes turned white and he fainted on the spot. At this moment, the entire Chamber of Commerce Hall was quiet. Everyone looked at Ye Tiance as if they were looking at a ferocious beast, and felt a chill behind them. Xiao Qingcheng opened her mouth slightly, with disbelief in her eyes. When did he have such skill? A little further away, Han Ruoyun's eyes were shocked. Is this bastard so capable of fighting? Further away, Rong Meiyan's charming pupils shrank slightly. This man is a bit interesting. As for Zhang Chunlei at this time, he was trembling all over and his face was pale. You must know that Feng Lei is one of his uncle's most capable confidants and is very skilled. He was defeated in one move. Ye Tiance slowly walked up to Zhang Chunlei and said with cold eyes, "It's your turn now. Tell me, how do you want to die?" Zhang Chunlei trembled with fright. He gritted his teeth and threatened, "It's my mother. My uncle is Zhang Xiaohu. Do you dare to kill me? If he finds out, he will definitely smash you to pieces." Ye Tiance sneered, "Even if I kill you, Zhang Xiaohu will only kneel down and kowtow when he appears in front of me." After all, in the fallen city, Zhang Xiaohu is at the bottom of the food chain and is only qualified to pick shit. In front of him, kneeling down and kowtowing is to promote Zhang Xiaohu. The next second, Ye Tiance will take action against Zhang Chunlei. However, Xiao Qingcheng opened her mouth and stopped her. "Ye Tiance, that's enough. Stop making trouble." Ye Tiance frowned slightly. "Are you sure it's me who's causing trouble?" "I'm helping you." Xiao Qingcheng bit her lower lip and said seriously, "I know, but Zhang Chunlei has a profound background. If you continue like this, you will only harm yourself. Forget it." Ye Tiance asked coldly, "Then what he did to you before is all over?" Xiao Qingcheng lowered her head and remained silent. In the face of absolute strength, so what? Ye Tiance sighed and said, "Since it's your choice, do whatever you want." He lowered his hand. Zhang Chunlei wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, glared at Ye Tiance unwillingly and said, "Just wait. I will definitely get the place back tonight." Then a group of people quickly left in confusion. Everyone present looked at the mess on the venue with worried expressions on their faces. At this time, there are only 10 minutes left before the start of the Chamber of Commerce, and it is already too late to clean up. When Master Long and the big shot see this scene later, how should they explain it? But at this moment, Ji Boduan suddenly pointed at Ye Tiance and yelled, "Tonight's bidding meeting was run by Lord Long, but you made it into a mess. You don't know how to live or die. If you dare to offend Lord Long, kneel down."